Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to be showing you an easier method to make inserts for boxes using Cricut Design Space. This video is in response to several inquiries about how to compute the measurements needed. This will be more like a detailed video focusing on how to compute along with an alternate method that you may find easier. This method delivers the same results as my original box insert tutorial, therefore the Cricut machine will not be used. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it here. Are you ready? Let's get started. Open Design Space and start a new project. Before you start this project, measure your box and your products. You need the width, the length, and height, so write them down. Here's an example. Let's say I have a box that is 6 by 8 by 1 inch in size. Okay, so the width is 6, the length is 8, and the height is 1 inch. Therefore, the insert can't be the same size as the box. It simply won't fit. Now, with this in mind, this tells me that I need to subtract a few inches in order for it to fit inside the box. Now, taking the measurements that you've written down, you're going to subtract 0.125 inches from the length, the width, and the height. So I'm going to subtract 0.125 from 6 inches, from 8 inches, and from 1 inch to get the calculated insert length, width, and height. And these are your measurements for the insert here on the right. I chose 0.125 inches because it provided enough room to fit inside the box without it being loose or too tight. Remember, all boxes are not created equal, so you may need to tweak how much you need to take away. It could be more or less. Now, I also want to point out that the height is important. It will determine how high or low you want the insert to sit or stand inside the box with your product. This is where the flaps will come into play, and they will also be placed on all 4 sides. Now I'm going to start creating the insert. I'm just going to move this out of the way. I'm going to select a square. I'm going to change the color to white. I need the width and length. So if I go over to my chart here, the width is 5.875 and the length is 7.875 for the insert, not the actual box. So I'm going up to size. I'm going to make the width 5.875 and the height 7.875. Remember, I'm using the measurements for the insert that we calculated, not the actual box measurements. And I'm going to place this over to the side. Now I'm going to select another square, or you can duplicate over in the layers panel. I'm going to change the color of this to white. Now we need the height and the width. So if I go back over to my chart, this is the height and this is the width. So I'm going up to size and enter the width and then the height. Now I'm going to duplicate, and now we should have 2 of those. They will serve as flaps that will fold down at the top and bottom of the insert. I'm going to take one of the squares and place it on the X at 2 and the Y at 1. Now I'm going to take the larger square that we made earlier and place it on the X at 2 and the Y at 1.875. And basically we're just lining up the squares. Then take the other small square and place it on the opposite end of the square and place it on the X at 2 and the Y at 9.75. Now I'm going to select another square and I'm going to change the color to white. And for this square, we're going to need the height and the length. So if I go back over to the chart, the height is 0.875 and the length 7.875. So I'm going up to size. I'm going to make the width 0.875 and the height 7.875. And now I want to duplicate. And we should also have 2 of those. Both of these will also serve as flaps on the left and right side. So I'm going to take one of the squares and place it on the X at 7.875 and the Y at 1.875. And I'm going to take the other square and I'm going to place it on the X at 1.125 and the Y at 1.875. Now, if you notice, each square slightly overlaps the other, and this is in preparation for welding all the squares or all the shapes together to form one shape. Now I'm going to select all by selecting all of this and selecting weld. Now, if you don't weld, Design Space will treat them as individual cuts, meaning the machine will cut each square separately, and that's not what we want. After you weld, you should have the base shape of your insert. Now I'm going to select another square and I'm going to make the size 5.875 by 7.875. And I'm going to change the color to white. And I'm also going to change this to a score because we want it to score. And now what I'm going to do is select both of these. And I'm going to align and then center. And then I'm going to select attach. This is the insert here. This is the main body of the insert. And these are the flaps here that will fold down. And as you can see, I added the square and made it a score, which will allow those flaps to fold down inside the box. Now the total layout for this insert is 7.625 by 9.625. Now from here you can select make it if you are not adding any text or designs, or you can proceed with the placement of shapes, text, or designs. Now remember, even with the latest edition of the A4 size for print and cut, which is 6.51 inches by 9.91 inches, the width of this insert still exceeds the limits for printing. The same can be said for the letter size, which is 6.75 by 9.25. Therefore, you will not be able to print this out seamlessly. However, you could use pens to draw right or use a stamp after cutting. And if you really wanted to print this, you could use the slice feature to split it into sections and then proceed with printing. However, you will get a seam that will require attaching with glue or tape. And that's it. If you had problems trying to figure out the measurements needed for your box insert, I hope this method helped you and you found it easier than my previous one. Let me know in the comment section if it was easier. Thanks so much for watching, and remember to appreciate your progress, keep improving, and I'll see you in the next video.